Now tell me, when was it you joined the Communist Party?
I joined the Communist Party when I was 18. That was in Glasgow. It was 1921. Before that, it was formed through a collection of the people from the ILP, the BSP and the SLP. And they had a period in which they called it the Communist Labour Party, for about a year when they were getting these groups all together, and then it became the Communist Party.
So you were a foundation member of the Communist Party in Scotland?
Yes, I was. I never joined it. Although I was only 18, I didn't join the Young Communist League. I joined the party and stayed in the party.
You must have seen tremendous changes over that 70 years.
Lots of changes. We took part in all the struggles for the unemployed during that period. Then there was struggles for nurseries during the war, and fights for my husband went off to Spain, fought in Spain, and I stayed behind, looked after the family, and all these kind of things happened. And I was always active, selling what was then the Daily Worker. In fact, I sold the Daily Worker on the very first day it came out in 1930, that was, and I was nearly arrested for obstruction in the streets of Springburn in Glasgow. The policeman said, "You're causing an obstruction." And I turned to the people and I said, "You'd better move on. You can buy the paper, but move on. Don't get me arrested for obstruction." And I sold nearly 300 papers on that morning.
When you joined the Communist Party, obviously it was just after the Russian Revolution, where Russia seemed to be the beacon. Yeah. That's all changed now. The whole communist system in Eastern Europe is in crisis. Do you think that communism is, in a sense, the god that failed?
No, I don't think that at all. I think it's only that, see, when you think back in history, every era took a long time to settle down, had its ups and downs. Capitalism had its ups and downs as well before it really became established. You can only hope to win a thing from crisis to crisis, as it were. And I don't think that the ideal of communism, which is to each according to his needs, is still available and still possible, in my opinion. But it needs more people to be involved, and with a whole capitalist society being against the Russian Revolution and Russia, all the things that have had the war and everything, and when all's said and done, they built themselves up on a great way in spite of everything. And the Cold War, an ally was turned into an enemy. And that was dreadful. And all that time we've spent money, both sides, on armaments which could have been spent better on making a better world.
But you remained
I still believe that we can make a better world, and it would be a socialist world.
But you remained a member of the Communist Party throughout the 29 period, the Klassegrens class, through all the revelations about what had happened in Stalin's Russia, the about turn in the war, the Hungary troubles in 56, Czechoslovakia in 68. Were you ever alarmed about what was happening behind the iron curtain?
I was alarmed. I visited the Soviet Union 4 times, and so I know I lived there for 9 months, way back in 1935. I had seen great changes there. It's wrong to think that everything's been bad, because it isn't so. In fact, we would never have prospered in the capitalist world if it hadn't been they were afraid of what would happen. That in itself gave us a better standard, because they're always hoping to make things better for capitalism rather than for socialism.
Was there any stage when you thought the revelations about Stalin's crimes or the changes of line made you think whether you really wanted to stay in the party?
Oh yeah, I was very horrified and very, very upset, and so was my husband, at the revelations about Stalin. But I never ever felt that it was any reason for giving up the ideal of communism, and any reason for giving up a party that was fighting for the betterment of the working class in this country, because that's what we were always doing.
But do you think, with hindsight, the party should have distanced itself from Moscow earlier?
Well, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that we should. We have never been entirely following them up to the hilt. We've always had, the very fact that we produced the British Road to Socialism shows that we didn't always carry it out as a, how could you put it, as a pattern for everybody. Every country has to develop differently because it developed differently. The Soviet Union developed right from feudalism right into what they tried to build socialism, and escaped the period of capitalism. But we, from a capitalist country, much more, how could I put it, much more developed. We could have had socialism much, and I think the Labour Party in this country during their period failed us just as much as the Soviet people were failed there. That's my own belief.
You've been through some heroic times, Red Clydeside, the general strike, the whole Second Front campaign, but now the Communist Party is a very small party with just 7,000, 8,000 members. Its future seems to be in some doubt. We heard this morning talk about changing the name, merging.
I don't believe in that no more than I don't believe that we'll lose out completely. I know it's sad. I'm really very upset about that. I don't entirely believe in everything that was said this morning either, for that matter. Everybody has their different ideas. But the party I helped to form, and that's why I stand by it, because I think that we still need the Communist Party in Britain today. We saw things that I fought against apartheid and fought in the co-op movement to get them to stop trading with South Africa 30 years ago, and now everybody's against that sort of thing. So surely we have been in the foreground for many, many years as a party.
You say you're sad and upset about some of the things that are said, but are you optimistic for the future?
Yes, I'm a hopeless optimist, really, because at 86 years of age, I'm still fighting for pensioners. So you're not going to have me say that I give up. I don't give up, no. I still have faith in the working class.
But if the party does change its name, for example, would you then stay a member?
Well, I wouldn't like it to change its name. I hope they don't do that, because that's just giving in to our enemies, in my opinion. You want them... I maybe oughtn't to say this, but I do believe myself personally that there's still a role for us. And I know that communism, socialism by this country has been turned into a dirty name, as the saying is, but that doesn't make it so.